All right, good morning, everybody. It's Friday, July 23rd, 9 a.m. my time. Prices of Bitcoin currently at 32,300 and some change. So what do we do overnight? The high that we had put in 2 days back right here, we actually swept that, right up here. So now this is now just a question of, can we just keep continuously putting in these higher lows going into the weekend time and tagging this area of equal highs, 33,400. Remember I told you all about this, right? There's a pocket of untapped liquidity for shorts that price can grind into. Now, what happens here, I have no idea, right? For all I know, maybe we get up here and we hold and we're ready to start the next leg up in the market, which is, 35 or however high, right? It's entirely possible. Or we do something like this, squeeze out the shorts over the weekend, right? Come back inside and then start basically nuking into next week or something. That's also possible. Okay. Because here's the thing. If you are short, right? Basically from this point on, your stop is about to get rated. Okay, so unless your stop is way above this high, right, even this area right here might panic you into selling your short position if you were short from up here all the way down. Because if you see price coming up all the way here, you might be inclined to start closing out your short position. And I think that's what the market is kind of trying to do right now. The interesting thing about what happened a few days ago, which was at this low, was, once again, we had a couple of short positions from a few days back, right? I think somewhere near the 18th or 17th of July. And we took that trade down all the way here, okay? And we closed out at this low. Why? Because that's simply how technicals work. That's how support works, okay? You want to get out of your trade at support if you're short. You don't want to be hopeful and praying that that support will break. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean that this low, after tagging it once, twice, 3 times, now 4 times, we don't know if this time around this low is going to hold. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you want to be long from here. Now, so far, obviously that has paid off. Right? If you longed this low right here, so far so good. Not only in BTC, but if you look across in Ethereum, SUSHI, Cardano, basically across the board where we identified assets that are coming into key support levels, right? Let's find out where SUSHI is real quick. Where is SUSHI? There it is. All right, SUSHI again. SUSHI hit this low right here and then bounced off, right? Even Aave hit this key low, swept some liquidity just below this low, took off, right? So the point is that across the board, even Matic, it hit this key low that we were watching. This is exactly where we closed out our short and then took off. Across the board now, though, okay, altcoins are once again coming into areas of key resistance, just as BTC is coming into key daily resistance of this downtrending structure. Okay, so you got to ask yourself that, do you believe that this is the bottom right here, and then from here we're going to take off? Because to be honest right now, I'm not fully confident that BTC has to put in a structurally new lower low. I said that back here too. It's just that the probabilities were pretty high. And I still think the probabilities are high. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to sit here in high confidence and say that Bitcoin has to break lower, especially now. Now, Bitcoin being Bitcoin and crypto being crypto, the way it lures people into the market is it will trap everybody down here into thinking that we're going to break, and maybe a short positions got trapped in this area right here, and it will squeeze up into the market. Maybe it gets to 35K, maybe it gets to 38K, maybe it gets to 40K, right? And then starts to roll over like in August or September and then nukes. Okay, that is something that has definitely happened in Bitcoin's past, which was right here. You thought that down here, BTC went from a high of about 10,500, nuked all the way down to about $7,700, hit the support multiple times, broke that support, quickly found huge liquidity to squeeze out. Boom! In 2 days, Bitcoin rocketed up like 30% or something, right? And then subsequent sell-off for the next several months. And then it took off. And then again, another sell-off. Right, so the point is that in a highly volatile asset, in an unpredictable asset class like crypto, you should always be on the edge of trying to figure out where can the majority of the participants be trapped, how to hedge your bets properly, how to protect yourself, right? I think the best way so far that we've protected ourselves, you guys know very well, is we've been in majority cash. Every time we see a pop in the market, we just short and we take, whatever money that we can get from the market and we just hang tight. Now, the question is, what do we do now? Well, going into the weekend, you guys know very well that I'm not much of a trader going into a low volume, low liquidity weekend, but we often see that the market has a tendency to cause some short squeezes. The market tends to definitely be going long into the weekend. And then over the span of the weekdays, which is, the Monday to Friday, US market open hours, then it starts to come back down again. So maybe for this particular week, maybe this was the low that we cemented. Maybe we did squeeze up. Maybe we're going to hold up above this high right here around July 18th weekly open. And we're going to squeeze harder into the weekend. Okay. And like I said, if we're going to squeeze harder, you want to be paying attention to the equal highs of $33,400. Now, if you were to take a long, right, here's how I would do it. It's the same thing that I mentioned when we were back here too, right? Keep your stop just below this area. Your target profit is right here. Okay. I had mentioned this, I'm pretty sure, in Bitcoin analysis. Let me check. See that? Like 2 days back, right? You can see I mentioned that right there when we were trading at 32 flat. That would have been the trade. And now, even now, you're not too far off, So if you want to take in that trade and you want to risk, basically 279, 2.79% or 2.7% for 2.9% gain, you can totally do that. Okay. Daily and weekly, obviously, as I stated before, there's really nothing particular about this. Like, I had asked a question in Bitcoin chat. I'd asked a question in my Twitter feed about what are people's thoughts, right? Like, what are people's idea on sentiment in the market? Okay. Do we think that we're starting the next leg up in BTC and alts? Answer with the finger pointed up. Do we think this is a false rally? Maybe this is another lower high in euthanasia's roller coaster? Point down. And if you're not sure and you want to wait a few days for clarity, answer with this emoji. So we had about 18 people think that the market is going to go down, still another lower high. Now, I take it that this statement is far more applicable to altcoins. BTC, we'll give it with a little bit more leeway. Now, if you're unsure, I think that's also fine. Honestly, there's really no right or wrong answer, right? I just want to get a pulse from the community. That's really it. If we go to my Twitter feed, right, had about 60 people answer. 47% of those actually think the bottom is in. Some people then think it's a lower high. Other people think it's, kind of too early / unsure. So very interesting dichotomy, because a lot of people who just follow me on Twitter think the bottom is in versus our community thinks we're going to head down, right? So I think what the conclusion of this is, the market is very uncertain. That's the best thing that we could take away. And that's good. And I'll tell you why that's good. Because when a market has divided a population of people into really thinking, we don't know what the F is going on, I believe that that creates very unique opportunities for the market to do things that most people are not expecting. And I believe that what most people may not be expecting is what we spoke about earlier, right? This market may have the ability to short squeeze up higher, maybe to 33,500, maybe it gets to 35,000, maybe it even gets to, like 40K or something, right? Now, we don't necessarily know if this is going to be the start of a new leg, but if you're getting to 32, 33, 35, 40, you're kind of going to have to assume at some point, okay, well, maybe this is the low and maybe we want to get into the market, right? So with that being said, what can you do? Well, you can definitely go position yourself long. I don't think it's too late in that perspective. Personally, I'm also considering positioning myself long, but I think the only concern of that is we just happen to be on a Friday going into the weekend, and all the altcoins are hitting resistance, right? Or they've already taken off a good amount. Not to say that just because altcoins have gone up a decent amount, they can't go up further. It's just the fact that, if I want to get into a market, I don't mind waiting another couple days, right? Like if this is the bottom, okay, and we're going to head up further, and say my upside from here is another 2x to previous all-time highs, do I really care if the market is going to rip up another 10-20% by tomorrow or Monday, right? Not necessarily. At least I can have, I don't know, a sense of security when I go into the weekend that I'm not hanging on to a position that I'll have to manage, right? Actively manage. I can enjoy my weekend. I don't have to worry about these altcoins kind of coming into resistance, maybe pulling down further, in which case I don't know how much further they pull down, right? So that's kind of my thought process right now is I really want to position myself long, but my rules kind of tell me right now that I probably shouldn't. One, because it's the weekend. Two, because the market is coming into, a decent area of resistance, or the market has moved up a decent amount. Or three, the best risk to reward is probably going to be after maybe this weekend resolves itself. Maybe we'll see how next week goes, right? Because here's the thing, squeezes like this have been quite common over the last several months. It happened here, right? Over here, it looked like, market was basing out and was going to push up higher. Or it happened here where it looked like we were going to press up, but put in another lower high. Or we could even make the argument that this first bounce put in this huge high. We thought we were going to go blast off higher, but sold off. This could be applicable to basically any other altcoin too, like even something as simple as SUSHI, or sorry, not SUSHI, Ethereum, right? Every time we've kind of hit this low, which is 1750, lower high, 1750, lower high, 1750, maybe another lower high, right? The interesting thing about this is every time we hit this area, right, this key low right here, and we're unable to break it, what it kind of tells me is that the market is unable to break it this time around, or this time around, or this time around. Now, of course, we know that structure got weaker, but every time the market comes into this low and it is unable to break this low and price bounces off that, well, you should know that there are still buyers there. Buyers there willing to absorb all the selling and then still push the market back up. Now, unless you can get the market to press up higher and take out, say, a key high, or start heading up and trending up, well, again, we still can make the argument that this is that descending triangle, euthanasia's roller coaster, where eventually it might break. Might take a while, but we have to kind of assume and give the benefit of the doubt to the bears. Okay, so even if you are taking long positions going to the weekend, I would probably take them level to level, right? And the only asset that really kicked ass over the last couple of days was Axie, right? I mean, amazing, amazing movement by Axie. So something that I had mentioned in, let's see here, in DeFi analysis, right, over here about Axie. I stated, if you read this, right, ideally I stated for the short condition, you want this 23.5 marker to hold and start rejecting price. As you can see right here, price did not fulfill our trigger conditions, right? It was supposed to break down past 23.5 and start rejecting that level and then breaking down. And then on the flip side, I also stated that if you look at the arrows going up, right? If AXS holds that level and BTC plus the rest of the market gets ready to push up for another leg, then AXS can easily go higher, the previous all-time high or higher. That's exactly what happened. In fact, BTC kind of just grinded on up, right? From this point onward, it drifted up. And rest of the market actually did a decent amount, right? SUSHI went up the last day or two. Luna went up. Solana went up. Aave went up. And of course, Axie went up. So with Axie, now that it's put in a new all-time high, honestly, I mean, again, it's open air above, right? Like there's really no telling how high this thing can go, right? When a market has already achieved its, what is the word for that? Price discovery, right? Sorry, I can't think. It's the morning time. So excuse me. When the market has achieved price discovery, right? I mean, the possibilities for price targets to the upside are really endless, right? I mean, obviously you have to be reasonable. You can't just say, oh, okay, well, AXS is going to hit, $100 in a week. I don't know if it is, but it's reasonable to say that, $35, $40 could be a reasonable target, as long as we don't, once again, come back inside this previous all-time high. Now, once again, if you want to short this thing, you want something like this. And by the way, personally, like the way it's kind of showing strength, I wouldn't necessarily short it, but if you want to, I'm just giving you guys opportunities, okay? So if you want to short this thing, right, look at this previous all-time high. And then you look at this consolidation and you say, okay, well, it's consolidating above the previous all-time high. So it needs to start drifting away from this area, and then you can go long. But if the price does something like this, comes back around, fails to, kind of head up from here and puts in a lower high, rejects this level, that's your short. First target profit, second target profit, third target profit. Okay. Anything is possible in crypto in the current market conditions because we're at such a inflection point that BTC, say if it goes down into next week and it really starts collapsing, the whole market is going to shit the bed. And I'm fairly confident Axie will break down at least to 23 or 19. Okay. But again, with the momentum right now, you don't really need to fade it, right? You could just let it go. You can take the easy route and just go long, buy the pullbacks, place your stop below previous lows and just really hope and pray that, okay, well, Axie just follows this trend because so far so good, right? I mean, it looks pretty solid to me. Relatively increasing volume on this move up. Overall, I mean, obviously this is, this is decreasing volume. So as the market has made a move up from here to here, this is clearly a, price to volume divergence, right? But again, I mean, that can go on for a little while until the market really exhausts itself and then comes down. Okay. But I would probably also figure that, part of this move going up is also shorts being hit, short liquidations, triggering, move up further. Okay. All right. The other thing, of course, we wrote an article about Olympus DAO. One of the projects that I've been following, I told Bradley to look into this and write us an article. I'm really, really glad and very happy with his work. Part of this community is that when I find interesting projects, right, and I don't have enough time to sort of sit down and write about them or make a video, I like taking Bradley's help on things like this, or Steven, who is also working with us as an intern. And we kind of collectively talk about things and research, and then we'll kind of pen to paper, write this article where if we really believe that a project has some good merit and some good stuff going for it, we'll write about it, and we will share it with our community. So Olympus DAO is something that I've been following closely for almost a month and a half, right? I didn't really know how good it was until just the last week or two when, Bradley and I started to do more and more research about it. So we figured we'd share this with you guys. I think it's a fantastic read. I hope you guys check it out. It's a very, very unique project. If you've noticed something in the market that's happening right now, it's that DAOs are kind of coming back, right? Like if you were around in 2016, 17, DAOs were there, but they had a really bad name because I think, was it the Ethereum DAO got hacked, or some DAO got hacked and they lost a ton of money, right? And that really scared the market away from DAOs. But now things are becoming a little bit more DAO centric. People are becoming more accepting. They have sort of that, short-term memory of forgetting about the DAO incident that happened back then. So point is, I urge you guys to check out this article, read about it, because I am very, very interested in investing in this project. Disclaimer, I don't have any investment in this project yet, but I'm definitely considering it. So if you got in today, this is not like you're going to be pumping my bags or Bradley's at all. Okay. I'm just simply letting you guys know I'm thinking about this, still. Okay. And I'm very excited about this project. So whenever you guys get into this project, right, it'll probably be at a better price than me. Okay. All right. Let's check out Matic and Solana, and then we'll look at some other altcoins. Okay. So let's do Matic real quick. So as I mentioned Matic earlier, right? Okay. So here's Matic, which is actually right now being pinned between a key level of resistance, which is this 95-cent marker, right? That's the range high of this previous consolidation before we took off. Okay. So being pinned between that, we bounced off the range low right here around 67 cents. Okay. And this is the key local structure SR level, which is around 86 cents. Okay. So what you ideally want in this situation is, okay, well, if you want to go long, right, you can wait for 95 to be broken, and then you can start taking targets to the upside. If you really believe that the market, this is how it's going to bottom and just start ripping up. Very, very rarely has Bitcoin or crypto ever, bottomed something like this with a V bottom and just started a next leg up. I'll tell you guys that right now. But that doesn't mean, just because I don't believe that the market has bottomed like this, doesn't mean that the market has bottomed and that we might just be range bound for a little while and then do something like this, I don't know, August or September, right? It is entirely possible. And it's in the realm of possibilities that I still pay attention to. But the other possibility that I still pay attention to is maybe this is, again, a lower high. And then from here, we're just going to drift lower and lower next few weeks, next few months. But we don't have to worry about that now, right? Because we had a very strong daily bullish engulfing. We're sitting near the range highs. Consolidating under resistance is bullish, right? That's the only way to look at the market right now. Consolidating under resistance is bullish. So that means that if we're going to press up further, your stop has to be below yesterday's daily low. Like that's the most obvious stop area. If you want it to be lower, definitely you can have it below 2 days ago under the daily open. Okay, so that's around 68, 69 cents. And the first target profit, I would probably say, is $1 even. But again, that would imply that you'd have to break above this resistance level. And that's a pretty shitty risk to reward ratio, right? Like if you're taking a trade and you're hoping for $1 as a target, hoping that the market breaks above resistance, your stop at the very least is 84 cents. All right. And then obviously a better stop will be 68, 69 cents. So not really the best trade. But of course, if it breaks above that, then $1.26, $1.50, $2, all that stuff. And of course, new all-time highs. That's all within the realm of possibilities. Okay. Solana structure. Okay. Lower highs across the board. You guys know that very well. But also higher lows at the bottom, right? So basically what we have is a tightening structure that's going on. A very, very tight-knit triangle that's developing, right? Something like this, and then something like this, okay? We can call these potentially continuation triangles because on a large enough time frame, one can look at this and say, this is a A, B, C, D, E, break out from here, retest, boom, it's over. Like Solana is going to go to new all-time highs, okay? So one can definitely call this a large descending, or not descending, sorry, large symmetrical triangle structure, which is an ABCDE pattern, a bullish consolidation structure, hoping for that breakout, right? Nothing really wrong with that. The problem with this is because we still have kind of this, market, which is in a very crucial inflection point, we have to assume that maybe the market has not bottomed, and maybe from here we might put in another, low down here, which would really put this theory in peril, because then this whole bullish triangle narrative is out the window, and that means we might just actually, start heading down further. Okay, so target wise, right? Easiest target, something that we've mentioned before. You want to go long? Well, your first target, immediate targets are between $28.70 and $31.40. Very obvious. In this yellow box that you see right here, that's where I'd be aiming for my long positions. Now, if you want to go short, you short here in this candle today, right? Your stop could be above this high, or your stop could be above today's daily high. And first target profit would be somewhere near these candle lows, or this low, or this low, or lower. Okay. So Legic, is that pretty clear about looking at the market in terms of levels and targets to watch out for? Is that what you wanted? Yes. Okay. All right. We had a user request, and I do want to check this out because I also like CRV. Okay. All right. So we've talked about CRV before. If you go to the Alpha Trades Medium page right here, we've written about CRV. Long thread about CRV, and again, one of the assets that I'm really, really bullish on, right? The things that we write about, okay, no one is paying us to write about. This is our hard-earned money and time and energy that we put into these projects to do deep research. So you don't just get, wooed by projects that are just moving up in price. In fact, these projects are kind of down in the dumps quite a bit. So we have no incentive to write about them at all. We're in a damn bear market and we're still writing about these, right? So that should tell you like, hey, these guys are not shilling, right? So the point is CRV on fundamental basis, okay, it is connected to the biggest platforms in crypto. Some being Aave and Compound and Balancer, right? Very, very unique project, and it has a lot going for it, okay? Now, price-wise, okay, you guys could obviously read the paper on our Medium page and do your own research, but price-wise, the most obvious thing that I see in Curve right now, which is actually visible in multiple assets, is it's trying to breach past this lower high, structural defense of resistance, right? This trend line, and it's trying to breach it every time. Okay, maybe this time around it's successful and it just starts pushing up from here. It is entirely possible. But I think the thing about this is, the market itself, right? It's already very, very close to a bottom. I mean, it's as low as you can get. So if you really wanted to buy CRV, you should have already bought already, right? When it hit these lows, or you could buy now. If you really believe in the fundamentals of CRV, you can definitely buy now. Non-investment advice. I'm just letting you know that you got to ask yourself why did you not buy 3 days ago? And why are you getting excited about it now? And if you are getting excited about it, is it because you still think the price is worth the value and you think it's going to go up higher? In which case, this is an amazing price, right? It's down quite a bit. If I'm not mistaken, CRV from like its highs, it was much higher when it got listed on Binance. It started off in August 2020 around $7 or $8. Now it's down a decent amount. Even as per, this early spring, April, May time, it's down already easily, 60, 70%. So this is a pretty solid discount. So if you get in now, right, the first most immediate area for stops is below these lows. First target is this high. This could easily look like a W bottom being formed. Okay. I mean, sort of like, looking at this and thinking, okay, well, that could be a W bottom, but then so could have this, right? This W bottom failed. So if you really want to wait for a confirmation, you got to wait above this level. And that's around $2.20 to be safe. So you want price to get above this level, hold, then your first target is $3.59, $5 and beyond, right? New all-time highs. Okay. Now, what are my short to medium term targets? Would pick to sell? I have no idea, right? I mean, obviously, like if it's going to head up, it's going to come somewhere near, the $5 area, previous all-time highs, like $5 to $7. Okay. So I'm not quite sure when people ask me, hey, what are your, short to medium targets for, I don't know, Ethereum or Solana? Like, well, the market is in a very fickle area, right? I mean, for all I know, by next month, Ethereum is back at like 1,500, or it could be at 3,000. Once it breaks out of this, limbo period, that the whole market is still in a limbo period. Okay. You have to kind of understand and accept that, right? If the market is starting to break out of this limbo period and it starts showing us trend, then we can make the argument, okay, all right, now we have some idea of direction, some momentum to the market. But one cannot make a long, a medium-term target for a curve unless it clears above these highs. Okay, that's just how technicals work, right? So unless curve gets above those highs, there is no way that I can say curve has to get to 5 or it has to get to 10 or 15, because then you get into the, crystal ball theory, right? And that's not what we're about. Okay. So for now, let's just stick with the market and talk about immediate levels, right? If you really believe in curve and you believe that the entire crypto and DeFi market are going to be much higher, 3 months, 6 months from now, then who cares? Like, I mean, all you need to know is curve is going to be higher from it is today. Even if it gets back to like $4 or $5 from $1.50, you're already at like a 3 or 4x. That's pretty huge, right? So I don't know about targets, to be honest. Okay. Any other questions? Elizabeth, is there anything specific you want me to cover? Satish, anyone? So Olympus DAO article I mentioned. I talked about this yesterday, SLP, right? And sand. Just in case you guys are interested, last time around when Axie was going up, people were kind of, looking for the laggard trade, which was SLP and sand. And both of them did a decent amount of work when Axie was going up. So this time around, who knows? As Axie goes up, kind of pay attention to things like SLP, right? It's printing kind of this big cup and handle kind of pattern. So if it starts moving up and out of here, you have some pretty decent upside targets. At least previous highs around 40 cents, which is at least, 20, 30% highs from here, right? And then new highs beyond that. I don't know how high it can go. Okay. If from a basic, measured standpoint, right, you just look at this cup size, okay, something like that, and you put that out there, okay, at the very least, this thing should be getting to about 60 cents or so. Okay, that's the depth of the cup. All right, let's look at, I just want to pay attention to one more thing. Oh, by the way, one of the markets that I'm paying attention to right now, going to the weekend, is THETA. Okay, THETA is coming to a very peculiar area right here, as you can see. Basically this is a very key moving average, right? There's this white one right here. It's one of the more higher moving averages. Now, if it could kind of get up and hold above this area, then we could start talking about, this $6 range as the next big target. That's pretty big, right? But it's in this area where it's basically being hit as resistance. So I really don't know if it's going to break this, but as you get into the weekend, if you're going to trade tonight, Saturday, Sunday, watch THETA, because it has this like tendency to make some pretty decent sized moves, especially when the rest of the market is calm. Okay, same thing with Luna, right? I mean, Luna is definitely one I'm paying attention to. Like, the one area that I'm paying attention to Luna is $6.55. See this marker right here? I'll show you guys why. See, on a monthly basis, right? Check this out. Guess where that is? 655. So not a single candle was allowed to close below this marker. Wicks below, but no closes below. So watch that area, right? I mean, if you see price coming back, gravitating towards that level, I mean, that could be your potential longing opportunity. Okay. All right. Exchange recommendation for coins not listed on Coinbase. Yeah, Satish, I can send you my referral link for FTX, which is in here. You can go to the referral links channel, and it's right here. Okay, so I'll send it to you right after. This is where I trade a majority of my stuff. FTX doesn't really have KYC either, but you have to limit your withdrawals. If you don't have KYC, you have to limit your withdrawals to $10,000 a day, right? Without KYC. With KYC, then it's unlimited, obviously. Okay. Elizabeth says KuCoin doesn't have KYC. Yeah. I've personally used KuCoin and FTX. They're both pretty good. I prefer FTX because I think it just has sort of a better, matching engine. Rarely ever goes down. Sometimes it does, but very rare. I don't know. It's nice to have like people like Sam, who is the CEO of FTX. You can kind of just ping him, and sometimes you just tell him like, hey, I'm experiencing this issue, or, what about listing this coin? And, whatever question you have, like, that team is very helpful to respond back to you. So that's one of the reasons why I like FTX. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Let's check out ES, NASDAQ, and then wrap it up. All right. So it is a Friday. I don't expect big movements in the market. Looks like the ES gapped up for the day so far, right? Not too bad. Market's about to open in about 2 minutes. Okay. So very interesting movement for sure, right? All this move down from last week when we had, I don't know what scared the market down. I forgot exactly what it was, but nonetheless, I mean, market completely rebounded, right? Qs, as we're about to open them today, they look like they're about to put in a new all-time high. All right. So all looks good. Okay. All right. Y'all take care, folks. Cheers, everybody.